for the simple fact that, being able to communicate and get a message along and kind of identifying what the issues are and being able to tell these guys, okay, here, you need to make this adjustment or that adjustment. That's going to be the biggest help, where you can turn a bad ball player into a mediocre player, into a mediocre player into a great player.
What is your take on the renovation, before we get on to more important things, what is your take on the renovations at Wrigley?
Oh, it's going to be real interesting. One of the things here that I'm kind of going to be intrigued to watch is, how Joe Madden is able to handle. That place is two different ballparks. Now, in the early part of the season, ends up playing real cold. It's a pitcher's park, but then as soon as the winds start blowing out towards the lake there, it picks up and it becomes more of a hitter's park as the weather warms up. So, you got to take that into consideration, and, what kind of metrics are they going to look at? Because they have all sorts of different proprietary statistics that they have and different metrics, and they're also very big. I'm just kind of keeping a science about their organization in terms of keeping different cameras at the same angles within all of their organization's ballparks, straight up from the Major League squad all the way through their teams in the Dominican and Venezuela. And so they're able to tell if a guy has literally dropped his arm by, 3/4 of an inch, from one level to another during a bad stretch to another. And so, that's kind of the way baseball is turning, where you're able to measure things like that, because it's a game where there's a set, point where the ball is released from the same spot every time. It's always going to originate in one place, and then from there, from when it travels to the plate, and that's kind of when you're able to decide from there. That's where you can make all your measurements. And so, it's going to be really interesting. And I'm kind of liking that. And the one thing with adding the scoreboards and the renovation with adding the big Titantron and some of those things, if that does change some of the wind patterns within the ballpark itself. And so that's something that I'm sure they're going to keep their eye on and use that science to kind of help them figure it out as they kind of experience as they go through it. That's going to be real fun, especially the way they're going to see. They're going to turn into like Fenway Park and kind of what they've done with that whole area. Wait till you see what they turn Wrigleyville into.
Is it going to be as fun to party in?
Oh, there will be plenty of partying, and that's that's probably one of the main focuses and why they were trying to get the public funding initially, was that they're going to put up events here year round. There's going to be an ice skating rink. They're also going to hold concerts. Foo Fighters are already involved. And so there's a bunch of different things they're looking to do to involve the community and to make it Wrigleyville rather than just a place where the Cubs play.
Looking at, Joe Madden in this situation, a couple of years ago, actually not a couple of years ago, this is like 5 or 6 years ago, when Rod Beck was still alive, when he was pitching for the Iowa Cubs, he had a trailer set up outside the stadium, and he would let fans come drink beer. With Rod Beck, maybe he would do a few other recreational drugs or not so recreational drugs with the fans. Do you see Joe Madden doing that type of thing, having beers with the fans after games or something like that? I think we can agree that he's not going to be doing drugs with the fans. This isn't Ron Washington, people.
First of all, let's get a little moment of silence here for Rod Beck.
Yeah,
by the way,
absolutely.
Great guy, phenomenal mustache. If he were up for it, Johnny, he would definitely win the Best Facial Hair Award.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And one of the best bullpens, him, Terry Adams, Jeremy Gonzalez. Jeremy Gonzalez also from that staff gone as well.
Yeah, and here's kind of one of the interesting things, just kind of sort of on topic but off topic, is guys like Rod Beck and Dwight Smith and all these other guys where, they're old school, if you want to call it, that was kind of like the heyday of baseball where everybody was tough. But they had that bulldog mentality, if you want to call it that, where they can handle closing, they can handle setting up, and it was nowadays it seems like it changes so often. Like it's almost season to season, definitely, but almost week to week, where some guys work, some guys don't. Look at what happened to Jim Johnson. Look what happened to Joakim Soria. Look what happened to Joe Nathan. I mean, Joe Nathan's just kind of I think a victim of age and kind of health concerns. But, Jim Johnson, what's wrong with him? He was killing it for, several years, fell off the table, trying to help this disaster of Detroit bullpen. That didn't work out. Joel Hanrahan, right now he's kind of toiling around in the minors, just kind of trying to work his way back after, suffering an injury. And it's just, it's really interesting, and you can't really pinpoint what the issue is. I don't think a lot of them come back to injuries, but, having that mentality to go out there and to be able to throw the ninth and knowing that your 3 outs are the biggest outs of the game. A lot of guys can't handle that pressure, and for whatever reason, there were just some real big studs coming up, through the 80s and the 90s into the early 2000s, and then things kind of changed where they were just, masters of just closing out games.
Well, and I think there's something to it. I mean, you look back at the 90s. I mean, you have these closers, Trevor Hoffman, Rob Nen, Rod Beck. I mean, you really look around, baseball. I'm not saying that Trevor Hoffman or Rob Nen was a borderline alcoholic or anything, but you look at they didn't take good care of themselves back in the 90s, and those were some successful closers. Like those guys, other than Hoffman, those other two didn't really take good care of themselves, and they were good closers for a couple of years. You look at now, these guys try to take better care of themselves, and the success is not there. Do you think there's something to closers taking poor care of themselves and being borderline alcoholics that might help them?
Well, you always have to bring it here, don't you, Bob? I don't even know if that, absolutely, it probably could have played a part in it. I mean, we've all seen, a random, GIF or, a random, video of Darryl Strawberry, taking a little line real quick out of the bottom of his glove while he's playing right field. But, it's maybe they had something to do with it, but I really don't think that, drugs or alcohol are any more prevalent, now than they were then. I mean, I think it's kind of all the same. And maybe even you can think back to this, too, if, hey, A-Rod just came out and admitting, using PEDs today. Who's to say that a lot of that wasn't roid rage where these guys just felt invincible? I mean, obviously Rod Beck wasn't juicing, but, for some of these guys, they might not have looked huge, but, maybe it was something that they were, taking some kind of, different supplement or something, even though they weren't working out as much. But when they were working out, maybe that kind of gave them that extra, kind of attitude.
Yeah, the Kenny Powers type thing.
What a beautiful man Kenny Powers is.
We're going to go ahead and take our first break of the second hour, that is. If you want to call in after the break, the number is 585-633-7487. We'll be back here with Johnny Maloris of WindyCityStars.com to talk the Johnnies, which are his yearly awards, which I don't know if we've done in a year or two, but we've done them before. And we'll be back here on LateNightSportsRadio.com with the Bob Sullivan Show. Thanks.
afraid. When you're walking down the street and it feels like no one cares. And you're walking down the street and in your mind I'm right there. 1, 2, 3, do you think about me? 4, 5, 6, let me ask you this. 1, 2, 3, do you think about me? Yeah. Every moment alone, does it feel like your heart's gonna break? Every moment alone, does it feel like you made a mistake? Every moment alone, every moment that goes by, every moment that goes by, One, 2, 3, do you think about me? 4, 5, 6, let me ask you this. 1, 2, 3, do you think about me? 4, 5, 6, let me ask you this. 1, 2, 3, do you think about me? 4, 5, 6, do you even see? 1, 2, 3, I'm right there. 1, 2, 3, do you think about me? 1, 2, 3, do you think about me? 1, 2, 3, do you think about me?
Who the hell can wait till morning? Talk now at latenightsportsradio.com.
Oh, Painted Black. Probably my favorite Stones song. Welcome back to the Bob Sullivan Show here on LateNightSportsRadio.com. I apologize, folks, when we come back from break and I'm thinking out loud, but if you want to call in, the number is 585-633-7487. I'm back here with Johnny Maloris. John, you invited me to go out to Chicago to hang with you. The question is, am I capable of hanging with you? And the only thing that's keeping me out of Chicago right now is you.
Hey, a lot of people, I'll make sure that you can at least hang. I'll keep you awake. I'll make sure to feed you plenty of Red Bull, probably a lot of espresso. I do a lot of my work right here out of the coffee shop I run in Willow Springs, Illinois. Awesome place on our street. It's right off the espresso, man. So it's kind of a home base, I guess, for a lot of like high school kids and a lot of college kids and like some older adults where you can kind of come out and still drink some coffee. But for instance, tonight, right now, I'm sitting in the parking lot doing the show. Every Thursday night we have improv comedy. This improv group comes up and runs comedy upstairs. Open mic on Wednesdays, music on the weekends, comedy shows. Plenty of good stuff, man. It's just a great place for everybody to kind of just mesh. And if you want to be weird, you can come here and be weird. Everybody's welcome, and it's a great place, man. So I'm telling you, espresso. You if you came to Chicago, you would at some point definitely wind up at the Ashbury Coffee House, no doubt.
The last time I went to Chicago, I was with